What's up, everybody? What's going on? Hope you're having a good Friday. It's late evening now, 6 p.m. here, 6:05. Anyways, hope you have had a good Friday, and I hope you have a great weekend. This video is me talking about the 8 people. A lot of them were superstars, and one woman were released. 8 of them were released today by the WWE. Wade Barrett, we all knew he was leaving in June or July. He wasn't going to re-sign. I'm sure they would have re-signed him to use him as a mid-card jobber again, but he didn't want to re-sign. Good for him. Damien Sandow, probably, to me, in my opinion, the most surprising release. I wouldn't say shocking, but it is very surprising to me because Sandow was always over. Even as a heel, he was pretty over. I was a fan of Damien Sandow. It's sad to see him go. But wherever he ends up, if he goes to TNA, Ring of Honor, if he goes to Japan, which I don't think he would, he's probably saved a lot of his money he's made in the WWE. Damien Sandow really doesn't have to go anywhere to wrestle, but I think the guy loves the business. He probably wants to continue his career somewhere else to shove it in the WWE's face, to kick them right in the balls because they deserve it after how they treated Sandow throughout the years. They deserve a kick in the balls, and Damien Sandow probably wants to go somewhere, get over, because he will, and prove WWE wrong for releasing him and not using him properly, and basically not using him at all for the past over a year. First, I'm going to talk about Wade Barrett. He was released. This is WWE's way, in my opinion, WWE's way of just basically getting one up on Barrett before he could leave on his own. They wanted to release him. Basically, a release is basically getting fired. But the door probably is open for all these talents to come back someday. Will they? I don't know. And hopefully Sandow maybe will come back someday. But Barrett, he was going to leave anyway in June or July. So WWE releasing him is basically a slap in his face. That's what I think. Do I care that he's released? No, because the guy was leaving anyways. Good for Wade Barrett that he decided to not re-sign. Good for him. I hope the guy's happy for the rest of his life. Whatever he does, I hope he's happy. But towards the end of his WWE run, the last 1-2 years, I've not been a fan of Barrett because he has been booked really bad. I know he's Intercontinental Champion. He still, in my opinion, was booked like a mid-card jobber. And a lot of the times, Barrett wasn't even used for months and months and months. He wasn't used. I know he got injured a lot, but still he wasn't used on Raw and SmackDown or pay-per-views that much until they decided to give him the King of the Ring victory last year, and then they buried the fucker. And they had him lose over and over and over on TV. In pay-per-views, Wade Barrett basically lost when he was King of the Ring. When he was King Barrett, the guy was losing nonstop. And then when he was Bad News Barrett, he got that over. That was a good gimmick. I enjoyed it. When you'd come out and say, I'm afraid I got some bad news. And then that was pretty good. That was entertaining. But WWE squashed that and made him become King Barrett. Anyways, Wade Barrett was signed by WWE in 2008 or 2006 to 2008. He was in Ohio Valley Wrestling. Ohio Valley Wrestling and WWE's partnership ended. Florida Championship Wrestling started in 2008 to 2010. What I remember about Wade Barrett and Florida Championship Wrestling, the guy was pretty good in the ring. He looked impressive. He was a commentator a lot. He was an FCW commentator, and he was pretty good at that. And then in 2010 to 2011, he came to the main roster. And he was in the first season of NXT. And then he joined the Nexus and basically was a leader. And then he started the Core, which was in 2010 or 11. Anyways, I'm going to go down here, this information about Barrett, about when he was going to leave the company. Let's see if I can find it. Anyways, it says, I don't know when Barrett decided to leave or told them not to re-sign, but on the April 4th episode of Raw, Wade Barrett and Sheamus faced the New Day. In a losing effort after the match, the League of Nations blamed Wade Barrett for being the weak link and attacked him, basically kicked him out of the group. And then Wade Barrett was basically written off TV. And he was granted his early release from the company. Anyways, his contract was going to expire in June, but he was released on May 6th. So, in my opinion, that's just... I maybe wanted this release, but still, WWE basically is trying to tell every fan that they release Barrett before he could leave on his own. So that's kind of a slap in the face of Barrett, in my opinion. Now I'm done talking about Barrett. Will I miss him? No, I won't miss him. I mean, he should have been WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He should have been a WWE Champion when he was a leader in Nexus, but he was buried by Cena. So that wasn't going to happen. Next guy I'll talk about that was released was Hornswoggle, which I could care less about. I'll tell you a story about Hornswoggle. The guy is a jerk-off. The guy is a rude, not nice to his fans, rude little midget. And I don't use the word midget a lot, talking about little people, but for Hornswoggle, he deserves to be called a midget, because that's what that fucker is. He's a rude little midget. I mean, the guy, I saw him at a live event in 2010 or 11. He was outside getting out of his car. He was with his son, and he was holding his son's hand. He's walking into the arena, and let me tell you, this is in the guy's home state. Hornswoggle, I guess, was born in Wisconsin, where I'm from. So, anyways, the show was in Milwaukee, my city I live in. Hornswoggle, this is in the guy's home state. A lot of fans were waiting at the guardrail, asking Hornswoggle, like begging him. I wasn't one of them, but a lot of fans were asking him, some kids with, I guess, their parents or brothers and sisters. A lot of them were like begging him, come over, Hornswoggle, please sign this, sign something, can you sign this? The fucking midget stops and he looks angry. He looks pissed off that the fans are even asking him to come over. He looks pissed, I'm not joking, not making this up. He looks angry that the fans even asked. And then he goes, hey guys, I'm with my son. Give me some space. Not now. And then the fucker walks off into the parking lot, into the arena. So he gave an excuse that he was with his son. His son was like 5 or 6 years old, maybe 4 years old. He could have just had his son waiting right by the side of him when he stopped and signed a couple autographs and took a few pictures. It wouldn't have took more than 5 minutes because there weren't that many people behind the guardrail waiting. So Hornswoggle, the only wrestler, I mean, I've seen in person, and I've seen a lot of them, I've met a lot of them, but Hornswoggle is the only fucking wrestler in the history that I've ever seen in person that has been a rude, straight-up asshole to the fans. The guy was rude, it was pathetic. That Hornswoggle wouldn't stop and sign a few autographs. So the guy, I don't know what his problem is. If it was his ego or he just was using his son as an excuse, I don't get it. But when I saw that happen in person, that made me fucking dislike Hornswoggle even more. And I never liked him before. But I really dislike him. Anyways, I'm going to look up when fucking Hornswoggle was signed to the company. Not that I even care, but I'll just look it up to get the information to anybody watching this that would like to know when Hornswoggle was signed by WWE. I don't give a rat's ass when he was signed. So he's brought into the WWE in 2006, or no, 2005. He was in NWA Wisconsin, where his name was Short Stack. Whatever. And then he started, after he was signed, I believe in 2006 by WWE. And then he became Cruiserweight Champion. That's probably the highlight of his career. And then in 2007, he was he was with Finlay when he became Cruiserweight Champion. Him and Finlay worked well together. But then in 2007, he was put in a storyline as Mr. McMahon's illegitimate son, which was stupid as fuck, and nobody was buying that crap. It was ridiculous. Anyways, other stuff. The biggest thing Hornswoggle ever did, as I said, probably won the Cruiserweight title, which was a fucking disgrace and a fucking joke, in my opinion. It was pathetic. It was basically throwing the Cruiserweight title in the trash, spitting on it, pissing on it, and setting it on fire. Having Hornswoggle win it. Anyways, what else did he do? I believe he's put in a WWE Films movie. I don't remember the name. It was a Leprechaun, the Leprechaun reboot. I don't know if it was a remake of the original Leprechaun. I don't really care. But he was put in a WWE Films movie. So that's probably a highlight of his career also. And then as I said today, May 6th, he was released, which I could care less. I was never a fan of the guy. And when I met him in person and I saw how he acted to the fans, that made me hate him even more. So I'm glad you're gone, Hornswoggle. F you. I don't want to see you join TNA or anywhere else. The movie is called Leprechaun Origins. That was put out in 2014, and he played the Leprechaun, and I never saw it. I don't care to ever see it. He was also in another movie called Muppets Most Wanted, which I never saw also. And he was in a lot of episodes of the WWE Network show Swerved, which Hornswoggle made Swerve suck. I didn't like seeing him in Swerved. Anyways, following his release from WWE, it was confirmed that Global Force Wrestling, under his ring name Swoggle, will make his debut for Global Force Wrestling. He'll make his debut on June 11th. I guess at a house show or live event that Global Force Wrestling is running. So good for Hornswoggle that he's in Global Force Wrestling, and he'll be working for Global Force Wrestling. If you're a fan of Hornswoggle, then you'll get to see him again. Maybe if you go to a Global Force Wrestling live event. Barrett gone. I don't care. I would have cared more if this was 2012 or 13 or 14. Hornswoggle, I could care less. The guy was released. Don't let the door hit you on the ass. Actually, let the door hit you on the ass, because I'll slam the door right in your fucking head. So you can go flying down the stairs. Goodbye, Hornswoggle. You will not be missed by me in WWE. Up next. Next talent that was released, and there was 8 of them. Next was Santino Marella. He debuted in 2007. I want to say 2007, on an episode of Raw from the UK, or Raw from Italy, one of those places. I think it was 2006 or 7. Santino Marella debuts, wins the Intercontinental Championship, defeating Umaga. Good for Santino. I was never a fan of the guy, but I'm sure he loved the business, and hopefully he saved his money. Santino, I will not miss him. But he wasn't as bad and as annoying as Hornswoggle, in my opinion. Up next, the next talent that was released was El Torito. Another little person. A little bit taller than Hornswoggle, but still a little person in my opinion. So El Torito, he was a longtime manager, mascot, half bull, half human. I don't know what the guy was. But he was a manager, long time, whatever you want to call him, mascot, I don't know what you call him, of Los Matadores, the team of Primo and Epico. I believe that was their name, as Los Matadores. The Colon brothers, Eddie, I believe it's Eddie Colon, and Primo. They are the new tag team. I don't know what they're calling them. I forget, but whatever. I guess El Torito was supposed to come back and manage Primo and Epico, or Primo and Eddie, whatever they're calling them. Whatever their names are, I guess El Torito is supposed to come back repackaged with them, but that's not going to happen now because today, May 6th, El Torito was also released. Will I miss him? Not one bit. I don't care, he's gone. The best thing, the highlight, in my opinion, El Torito did in his WWE career, the highlight was the Wii LC match in 2014. He had a Wii LC match on the kickoff against Hornswoggle, where there were little mini tables, mini ladders used. It was a pretty entertaining match. They had 3 little people commentators. That was entertaining. And that's the best thing, in my opinion, El Torito did in his WWE career. Were kids a fan of the guy? I'm sure they were, but I wasn't. Well, I'm not a kid, as you can tell. So why would I be a fan of El Torito or Hornswoggle? Up next, who was released, was Alex Riley. This one kind of surprised me, but not really. Because I thought he should have been released last year, but he had a knee injury, so they weren't going to release him when he was injured. He came back to NXT, had a few matches in NXT. I believe he injured his knee again and had to have knee surgery again. So he was out for a long time, a couple months. He just returned, and he was on this week's episode of NXT. He cut a backstage promo. He was interviewed, and next week it will probably be his last ever appearance because it was taped. Alex Riley is taking on Nakamura on next week's NXT edition. So that'll probably be his final match in the WWE. Alex Riley was released today. Well, am I sad? No. Am I surprised? A little bit surprised he was released because he was just on the episode of NXT. But I guess WWE wanted to be nice to the guy and give him a last match in NXT. That's probably why they put him on the tapings, but I'm sure he'll lose to Nakamura. But I don't know why they'd even put him on those tapings when they probably knew they were going to release him 2 weeks ago or a month ago. They probably knew. Alex Riley, I'm going to just look up when he started and debuted. So, Alex Riley's highlight in the WWE was probably his feud against The Miz, when he turned on The Miz after The Miz kept basically pushing his buttons over and over and over. Alex Riley finally snapped, first season on an alliance with The Miz. In NXT, I believe The Miz was his coach in a season of NXT. Might have been the first season, I'm not sure. Anyways, Alex Riley and The Miz together, they were great. They worked really well together. Alex Riley was pretty good with The Miz, and then he turned on him. That was good stuff. I thought Alex Riley could have really been pushed as a babyface right after turning on The Miz. I think he could have been pushed better. He could have been used better. He could have been booked better. He could have been, should have been at least Intercontinental Champion. So he was signed in 2007. Alex Riley was signed to a developmental contract, and he was put in FCW. In 2007, he had this weird, like, college football player gimmick, meathead gimmick in FCW, where he was wearing a university jacket with a giant letter on it, a letterman's jacket, whatever they call them, and it was part of his gimmick. And then he was put with Beverly, whatever her name was, Beverly Mules was her real name, I guess. I think her name in NXT was Courtney Taylor. I don't really remember her name. Anyways, Alex Riley became the number one contender, and he to Tyler Rex's FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship in July. And then there's a triple threat match in, I believe, August 2009, where it was Tyler Rex and Johnny Curtis, who is Fandango. I'm surprised Fandango was not released today. He'll probably get released, in my opinion, probably this year sometime. They'll probably do more releases, probably in a month or sooner. 2010, as I said, The Miz was mentoring Alex Riley, and then he started feuding with him. That's the best thing, the career highlight, in my opinion, for Alex Riley in the company is him feuding with The Miz. And as I said, the guy could have been pushed better. He could have been booked better. He could have been hugely over as a babyface, because when you turn on The Miz and he snapped on Raw, I believe he tore his clothes off and tore his suit off and attacked The Miz, the guy got a massive pop. So I thought Alex Riley could have been booked better, should have been booked better, but things didn't work out for him. I don't know if he ever had backstage heat. That's why he never got booked. I don't know. But Alex Riley, I was a little bit surprised he was released, but not really. Whatever he does, if he continues in wrestling, I wish Alex Riley the best of luck. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a guy that loves the business a lot. Up next, the two of the last talents I'll talk about, or three. Zeb Coulter. He was released today. They weren't going to use him anymore for anything. Jack Swagger, I believe Swagger's injured with some type of injury, or he's rehabbing to come back from an injury. So they could have, Zeb Coulter on the microphone, the guy was fucking great, in my opinion. The guy did his heel manager part very well when he was a heel with Swagger. He was great. And then they had Zeb Coulter turned babyface, and he was facing off with Lana. And they had a debate on Raw. That was good stuff. I liked Zeb Coulter when he was a manager. I liked his WWE run. He was in the WWF in '95 before as a manager when he managed Jacob and Eli Blue, the Harris brothers, who later became the DOA, who then went to WCW and became Creative Control, and then they became the Harris brothers. Anyways, Zeb Coulter, when the guy returned to the WWE, because he was there in '95 before, so when he returned, he had a great fucking job, and he did a great job. Basically everything he did, especially his promos, his mic work was great. So Zeb Coulter, I wish you luck, whatever you do in wrestling. I wish you the best of luck. I was a big fan of you in WWE. And before WWE, Zeb Coulter, a.k.a. Dutch Mantel, worked in TNA backstage. And he, I believe he was part of the creative team in TNA, and he really pushed the Knockouts division when he was in TNA, and he really helped out the Knockouts. So that's awesome. That Zeb Coulter, or that Dutch Mantel, really helped out the Knockouts when he was in TNA backstage. So Zeb will be missed by me, but he's been off TV a while, so I kind of forgot about him. I didn't even know if he had a contract still. Up next, who was released, is Cameron. Cameron being released, this is my reaction. Very happy. I will not miss her. I was never a fan of her. She sucked in the ring. When she returned to NXT a couple months ago, she improved a little bit in the ring, but she still is bad. And she's still, I don't care what anybody says, any major fanboys or fangirls say about Cameron. I don't care what you people think or say. She was never going to be a women's champion in NXT or WWE. It was never going to happen. She wasn't good enough to be a champion in wrestling. If she goes to another company, and if for some reason, I don't know why they would, but if TNA decides to sign her, which please don't, or if any company, probably an indie company will sign her because they'll get a few more fans to come out to their show that watched Cameron on Total Divas, whatever. But I hope Cameron's time in pro wrestling is over. I hope this is her wake-up call, and basically I hope this tells her that wrestling was not fit for me. That I should have never got, well, she got it. She's lucky that she was in WWE as long as she was. She is damn lucky that she was there as long as she was. She made great money, I'm sure. But she's damn lucky that she had a job for so many years. And a lot of those years, probably 3 of them, she had a job because she was on Total Divas. I wish no ill will towards whatever her name is, Adriana, the person out of wrestling. I wish her the best. But in wrestling, Cameron, you were god-awful. I haven't met anybody in real life, fans I know of WWE, or fans on Twitter that I talk to, or friends of mine on Twitter that I talk to. I haven't met anybody that has told me that Cameron was an awesome wrestler, a great worker, and that she was one of their favorites. I also never heard from anybody that she should be women's champion or NXT women's champion. And if you did say she should be Divas champion in the past or women's champion now, if you did say that, you don't have any brains and you're delusional, because there's no way in hell she had the skills or the talent in the ring to be a champion. There's no fucking way in hell. All I gotta say about Cameron is, girl, bye. I hope you never come back to the WWE in the future. And I hope you stay out of wrestling, because wrestling, pro wrestling, is not for you, Cameron. I never wrestled a match, but I guarantee you, the knowledge I know from watching for years and years and years, I guarantee you I could put on a better match than Cameron if I had to. She was just, she was off on the mic. Her voice was super annoying. Her voice was like taking nails to a chalkboard. And her wrestling ability was garbage. She is probably on par with Eva Marie. Both of them don't have talent in the ring. But I would have to say Eva Marie is probably a little tiny bit better than Cameron. And Cameron was on Tough Enough in 2011, I think, when Stone Cold was the host. And she was eliminated from the show, and then for some reason WWE decided to sign her. Like a bunch of fucking idiots. They decide we should sign her because we can make her a wrestler. No, you couldn't. She tried. I'm sure Cameron tried, and I'm sure she trained a lot. And she really tried hard, but it did not work. Her hard work didn't do anything. Didn't improve her in the ring, in my opinion. And she had the best trainers in the world. She had Sarah Del Rey at NXT, the head trainer for the women. Sarah Del Rey, former Shimmer champion, former great wrestler, Sarah Del Rey. Cameron had Sarah Del Rey training her, and she still couldn't improve. So, all I gotta say about Cameron, final thoughts is goodbye. I won't miss you one bit. Last person I'm going to talk about that got released that was pretty damn surprising. Damien Sandow. I know this video's gone over 30 minutes. I apologize. I'm almost finished. So Damien Sandow, the guy was in the company for a pretty good time. Pretty long time. At least a couple years. Of course, one of the career highlights for Damien Sandow, in my opinion, the guy's 34 years old. He just turned 34 on April the 3rd. Damien Sandow, I was a big fan of the guy. It doesn't matter if he was a heel or babyface, I was a fan of his. The guy had tremendous talent on the mic and pretty damn good in-ring talent. He was signed as a part of the developmental territory OVW in 2003 and to 6. He was in OVW. And then he went on to the main roster, and he became Idol Stevens, which I don't remember. But he was introduced with Casey James, and Michelle McCool was their manager as one of their favorite teachers. It was weird. Anyways, they feuded with Paul London and Brian Kendrick. And Ashley Mazzaro was in the corner of London and Kendrick. And Michelle McCool was in the corner of Idol Stevens, who was Damien Sandow and Casey, whatever his name is, Casey James. Then he went on to the independents. He went to the indies, I guess, because he might have been released. He was released. He was released by the WWE in August of 2007. And then he went to the indies, worked in NWA, some NWA territory, and he appeared in XCW, Midwest, and Derby City Wrestling. And he was there. And then he returned to OVW as Idol Stevens in 2008 and 2009. And then he returned from Puerto Rico. So Damien Sandow, the guy's been in a lot of territories, a lot of indie promotions. He's worked in Puerto Rico for WWC, World Wrestling Council. And then I believe he signed by WWE. He came back again, or he left WWC in Puerto Rico. He left there and went to Florida Championship Wrestling in 2010 to 2012. And he came up with a character called, where's his freaking name? His character basically was Colonel Sandow or something like that. He was like a colonel, some army character. It wasn't that bad. He didn't have a beard, so in FCW, Damien Sandow, you probably couldn't recognize the guy because he didn't have a big black beard. So anyways, in 2012, on 2012 to 2013, he was he became the gimmick, the intelligent savior of the masses. It was pretty damn good, and he did a great job playing that character. And then he became Mr. Money in the Bank in 24 or June. What year is this? June 14th, Money in the Bank. The team of Team Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow, they entered the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. Damien Sandow went in to win the Money in the Bank, and then he went on to cash it in. And when he cashed it in, he lost to John Cena, sadly. And then in 2014 to 2015, he became characters, basically parody characters, impressions of The Miz. He became Damien Mizdow. That was great stuff. That was great work that Mizdow did. As Sandow did as Mizdow, it was great stuff. Entertaining as hell. The guy would be on the outside of the ring during the Miz's matches. Miz would be locked in an arm bar or something. Sandow would be on the outside putting his arm up, selling the moves, but he was on the outside of the ring by himself, and the guy was selling the moves. When Miz would get put in a suplex, Sandow would do a handstand on the outside of the ring like he was in a suplex. It was great, entertaining stuff. And then he became, after Damien Mizdow sadly was eliminated from the WrestleMania 31 Andre the Giant Battle Royal, he should have won it, in my opinion, but Big Show won. And then after the Damien Mizdow, he became Macho Mandow. Basically a parody and impression of the Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man was just put in the Hall of Fame, so I guess it made sense that he became Macho Mandow. He did a great job at it. He played the character well. Damien Sandow, in my opinion, the guy has done everything the company, the WWE, has asked him to do. He has done it all. And he has succeeded in just about every character he's played. I'm talking about when he was an intelligent savior of the masses. He was great at that character. He was great at Mizdow. He was great at Macho Mandow. And then he returned back to his old character, the intelligent savior of the masses, whatever you want to call it. He returned to that character in 2015, and he was wrestling dark matches, and he wrestled at live events. Then he returned to television. Sandow returned as Damien Sandow on November 14th on an episode of The Main Event. So he was back, and he defeated Heath Slater. And then he was at the Royal Rumble kickoff, where Damien Sandow and Darren Young teamed up for some reason, competed in a fatal four-way for a tag team title match at the Rumble, or to get in the Royal Rumble. And sadly, Damien Sandow, since Mizdow ended, he hasn't been pushed, he hasn't been used correctly, he hasn't been booked right. The guy hasn't even got an opportunity to showcase his talents anymore on Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-views. So that really sucked. And I would sometimes write on Twitter when Sandow would be gone for a couple months, I'd write, where is he? Is he still with the company? Because I did not know. But he had a contract, but he was released. He was released today. I'm sure Sandow is probably really happy he was released. I'm happy for him because the WWE failed him. They really failed him, and they fucking dropped the ball with Damien Sandow, in my opinion. The guy could have been over big. He was over. He could have been World Heavyweight Champion. Could have been WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He was Intercontinental Champion, I believe, I think. Whatever. Anyways, after being released from the WWE, Sandow, who is using his real name now on Twitter, on his official Twitter account, he said that he would like to take independent bookings, and he'll take them through email. So Good for him. Sounds like he wants to stay in wrestling. I hope somebody signs Sandow, either TNA or Ring of Honor. I hope he goes to, because I want to see that guy again. He deserves to get another shot, to get another opportunity in pro wrestling. I was a big fan of Damien Sandow. It's sad to see him go. This is a release that upsets me the most. It's sad, but I kind of wish that it would come. And I got my wish because he was released. And I wanted him not to be released to be mean, not saying I want him to lose his job, but I'm sure it'll be better for Sandow in his career going forward to be out of the WWE, which badly dropped the ball with him. Very badly. So this ends my show about the 8 releases from the WWE that happened today. Hope you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TNA WWE Guy. Also follow me at NXT WWE Guy. Bye for now.